Welcome back to Thursday Thoughts. We are at the Crescent Water Treatment Plant for the Louisville Water Company as we continue our Water Week podcast series. And we are here with Chris, who's going to tell you a little bit more about his job momentarily. So sit back and buckle into the latest episode. Chris, can you just share a little bit about what you do here at the Crescent Hill facility?
Yep. So I'm the manager of water quality and compliance. And we are one unit of the water quality team that makes sure that the water is safe to drink and that the customers want to drink it. So it's an important job.
Well, you know, every time I pull on that tap, I expect that Louisville Water is going to do what Louisville Water does and be thirst quenching. And so in the earlier podcast this week with Kelly, where we were learning about the history of the water company, she mentioned the recipe. And so we're going to come to, you know, where the rest. I've never thought about a recipe with water. Obviously, we think about it with bourbon all the time, you know, a lot of corn, a little bit of rye, malted barley, that makes bourbon. But what's a water recipe?
Yeah, so you're standing in the wet chemistry lab, and so we do a lot of chemical testing on the water. So there's no water that's the same. Everywhere you go, it's going to be different. So here we are, we rely on the Ohio River, which supplies the water. So Mother Nature gives us a lot of different variables day to day. But overall, like we're dealing with water that is mineral rich in this part of the world. And so the main recipe of water as we know it in the Midwest or here in Louisville is high mineral content. And that's what gives water the taste that we say water tastes like.
Yeah.
And so here in this part of the world, it's calcium rich, calcium-carbonate minerals. And that's the flavor profile that our customers are used to.
Yeah.
And one of the unique things about Kentucky, geologically, the minerals here, the geology here is really low in iron. And so it's a good friend to the bourbon industry because iron, as you probably know, is a contaminant for the bourbon process. So that's a good partnership.
Yeah. And so when you think about like the steps that water has to go through from the time it leaves the Ohio to it hits our faucet, like what steps do you all take, you know, to ensure that it's the highest quality water that we can drink?
Yeah, so this is a conventional water treatment plant. So it's all the processes that we employ here are regulated. There are certain things we have to remove from the water, certain things that occur naturally in the environment, like sediment.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that that's pollution, but the Ohio River drains a massive watershed, like the entire northeast of the United States. So there's a lot of sediment transported in that river. So we got to get that out of the water. People don't want to drink mud.
Yeah.
So the big lift is chemically facilitating the precipitation of natural sediments, natural particles in the water, like sand, silt, and clay. After that, it's making sure there's no bugs in the water.
Yeah.
Like, so all ambient water is going to have naturally occurring bacteria and other microorganisms. So we got to disinfect the water to make sure that it's safe to drink, that things aren't going to grow in the water, make us sick.
Yeah.
And so the step after particle removal is disinfection. And then we do some other things to manipulate the pH and to control for different other possible contaminants. We have some other strategies for dealing with seasonal issues like algae blooms, spills that might come down the river from like a barge accident or a train derailment. But other than that, the final step is filtration.
Yeah.
And so we run all of our water through a filter as a final step to polish the water. And then it's really simple from there. We just put it in water storage. We have different reservoirs and tanks throughout the city, and we pump it to our customers.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. What would you say is like the biggest thing that we probably take for granted from like, this is now stripped out of our water that could either make us really sick? Is there any like one thing that like you all are like hypersensitive and worried about to make sure it gets stripped out?
What gets the most attention in the headlines is, you know, man-made pollution, you know, like industrial discharges and barging accidents or something like that. While we have to be prepared to treat those things when they happen, they rarely happen. But we're vigilant and we're actively monitoring for those things daily.
Yeah.
But what could really get the entire distribution system in trouble or contaminate the water that would affect the entire customer base is our pathogens that naturally occur.
Yeah.
And so that's an hour by hour risk that exists with a source like the Ohio River.
Yeah.
It's dirty. There's lots of bacteria in there. And so the disinfection process is still number one by far, the most important, most critical chemical process that we have to manage. And we have to make sure that there's enough disinfectant in the water every second as we're treating water to make sure that nothing gets by that's not disinfected properly.
Yeah, because we turn on the tap and we just hope that we just assume that the water is going to be good to drink, right? Unless there's some crazy note, and hopefully we never have to hear that note anyway. So you talked about the filtration process and getting that there. Like, how many steps does the water go from the Ohio before it gets to our faucet?
Yeah, so we can just walk through those quickly. So the first step, we pump from the river up to our reservoir. I'm pointing over here because it's in that general direction. But that's a massive 100 million gallon reservoir, and so that stores about 1 day of water that we would treat. On a busy day, we would produce more water than that, and we're going to be turning that reservoir over multiple times. But on average, that's about 1 day of water. That's just basically water storage so that it can drive by gravity the rest of the treatment process. And so that's the highest elevation point the water goes until we pump it out to the system. From the reservoir, it goes through multiple steps of what we call coagulation. So we add chemicals to the water, iron sulfate, ferric sulfate, and that helps precipitate and conglomerate all the particles in the water so that they settle out.
Yeah.
This is a process that has to happen within hours, not days. We don't have days to treat the water. So we use these chemicals to help these things facilitate and precipitate. And that's really, really important. So now we have separation of some of the particles we're trying to remove from the water and water that's moving on to the next process.
Yeah.
So now we have a waste stream. So we have to process the waste. But following the water as we treat it, the next step is disinfection. So we had low concentration bleach that we generate here on site, and we add that to the water to inactivate any viruses, kill any bugs, any pathogens, that kind of thing. So once that demand is what we call it, the biological demand is satisfied, then we add a little bit more bleach to maintain a residual bleach so that there can be no regrowth downstream as the water moves. And so water has a shelf life. Most people think that water, you open the tap and it's just the same as it always is, but water has a shelf life. We have to maintain these residuals in the water to make sure stuff's not regrowing. Regrowth is a big issue.
Yeah.
Especially as the water moves out further and further away from the plant. After disinfection, we add a chemical called lime. And lime, all we're doing is raising the pH. The natural pH of the water after we do chemical coagulation can be anywhere from 7 to 7.5.
Yeah.
And that sounds neutral, but we want it to be a little more alkaline. Alkaline pHs help a lot of the chemical reactions that we have in the water.
Yeah.
And it helps stabilize our water for corrosion control. We still have a lot of customers that have lead service lines. The pipes that come into their house are made out of lead or made out of galvanized, which is another risky material. And the pH helps control any corrosion that would happen in those pipes. So that's more of a protective thing for our customers.
Yeah.
After pH control, pH adjustment with lime, it's really just filtration.
Yeah.
And water storage from that point forward.
And so you've used a lot of terms and a lot of things we think around our house, right? Lime or bleach or whatever. It says, we gotta clean that tub, or we gotta do X, Y, and Z. They're safe, right?
Yeah, all of the chemicals that we use are they're called, it's NSF certification.
Yeah.
So there's they have to be certified for use in water systems.
Yeah.
So they have to be chemical free, contaminant free, only used for that purpose. So a lot of the products we buy are really high grade, pure products, so that we know that we're facilitating a specific reaction chemically, and then we can manage the water after that reaction's taken place.
Yeah. It's so crazy. Like, I don't know. I've been living in Louisville my whole life. I take for granted the water all the time, but all the steps that you all are doing to ensure that we stay healthy, we don't get sick, is absolutely impressive. And so thanks for giving us a little bit of a peek behind that, all the science that goes into it. And let us know your thoughts. What do you think of Louisville tap water? You better say it's the best, because it is. But Chris, really appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Cheers. I mean,
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Bourbon Lens. If you want more exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/Bourbon Lens and join our growing community. If you just want to stay friendly with us, you can go over to Instagram, X, and Facebook and follow us there. Also, our YouTube page is growing and we're producing more content there like Thursday Thoughts and 5-Minute Fridays. So don't forget to smash the subscribe button and catch all the content that we are producing every week. And until next time, cheers.